Spouses who married the cool girl or boy from your high school, what are they like now? My wife was the hot girl that everyone gossiped about. She's still super hot, but is such a wonderful, supportive, loving person. It makes me sad no one took the time to get to really know her when she was young. My wife was in a similar situation. She was kind of goth, but caught hell from a lot of people at school. It was bad enough that teachers even got in on spreading rumors. We're in our mid-30s and she still won't go to reunions or anything, and I don't blame her. It was exceptionally toxic. She's one of the most kind-hearted, empathetic people I've ever encountered. She's also stunningly gorgeous and probably out of my league. I'm a lucky man. My mom was the elite Atlanta debutante and lived a very cushy life at a budding Miami country club. Beautiful and very popular at the private school. My dad grew up on a farm in Virginia. They weren't poor, but they were definitely not refined. Eventually, my father's family made it down to Miami after selling the farm. He became the lifeguard at the country club pool where my mom spent days lounging about. My parents say they saw each other and that was it. The scandal was great. The debutante and the lowly lifeguard. They just celebrated 54 years of marriage. My lowly lifeguard father made quite the life for my mom, regardless of what all those elite twats said was going to happen. She gladly left the country club life for him, and they are still so utterly in love it's crazy. He carries a photo of her at the pool where they met. The only references she makes to being that girl are that they proved everyone wrong. They are beautiful and I love their story. My sister married the prom king starting running back from her high school. He got fat, but also is a nice dude who makes a killing running some kind of raw materials company. Doesn't talk about the past at all. Many former athletes get fat because they got a taste of freedom that they don't need to maintain their workout and diet anymore. I'm a former fighter and am now fat. My mom was the nerdy girl who got all the A's and had zero social skills, and somehow managed to start dating my dad, who was the popular, good-looking guy who everyone thought would peak in high school. She was actually advised by her family and friends that he wouldn't give her the future she was hoping for. They got married at 19, had me when they were 20, and while they were pretty broke the first few years of my life, he paid for my mom to attend law school, started his own business, and 25 years later with 3 kids, they're still so in love and have a pretty cushy life. My dad actually met one of the loud voices who told my mom she was making a big mistake marrying him, and she had said how she always knew he would turn out well, which he found hilarious. In my relationship, I came from no money, and my partner's family do have money. When we first got together, I was sat down by his mother, and she told me in a sort of warning way, "I don't want my son financing your relationship." I was a bit shocked, as quite frankly, neither of us had money in the bank. We worked independently and saved when we could. 10 years in, it was actually my money that bought us our first home, not his. So it's my little redemption on that judgmental comment early on. Over the decade, I've grown to know who she is. And while she is definitely money-oriented sometimes, I love her very much and she does have a big heart. Just maybe don't fire the cannons at your son's partner in the first month. I'm an introvert and he's an extrovert. I never knew what to say to him in high school because he was so cool and funny. He intimidated me. Now our differences complement each other. I think we're very happy. Not me, but my aunt and uncle got together when they were both 12, married in their early 20s, and they're happily married ever since. Got 2 children and even 2 grandchildren. It's the most beautiful love story I know from close, to be honest, but I'm really bad at bringing it across. My high school friend was the cool guy. Everyone liked him, guys and girls. He never got into fights, was always instantly invited everywhere, and girls totally swooned over him. He's still the same awesome dude, hasn't changed a bit. He married an incredibly hot nurse. I'm the opposite of this question. I totally peaked in high school, was cheerleading captain, valedictorian, prom queen, super involved and outgoing. Now I'm fat and very unnoticeable, not pretty and maybe not ugly, just bland, and incredibly shy and reserved. Don't really have many or any friends, but married my high school sweetheart who was quiet and mostly flew under the radar. And now he is outgoing, successful, and more handsome by the year. I say this in kind, but I really think you need to talk to someone like a therapist. You are not bland. Your peak isn't high school. You have a whole lifetime left to peak at. Making friends as an adult is really freaking hard, so don't let that control what you think you are. And do not compare yourself to your husband. Hell, don't compare yourself to yourself, aka comparing the now versus high school years. It's pointless. You need to find that love and admiration for yourself again. You're a wonderful human being with complexities. You need to talk to someone that will help guide you and look into your life and appreciate and enhance it. He was the one who had the six-pack who all the girls swooned over. Very popular. I was not. Saw him after just leaving high school and started going out. Ended up getting married in our early 20s. God knows why. I guess we thought it was just what happened next. He never grew up. All he wanted to do was play online games, but I mean constantly. He would get in from work, walk straight past me to the spare room, straight online, and play until the early hours. Get a bit of sleep, go back to work. Same thing, again and again. Never wanted to go anywhere, just wanted to game. Eventually, I gave him an ultimatum. He chose the game. From what I gather, he's remarried to someone else we went to high school with and has 2 kids now. I was told she had to give him an awful lot of ultimatums before he eventually grew up. I hate to be the one that bursts everybody's bubble, but my husband was the good-looking, athletic guy with a great sense of humor that all the girls adored. I was the petite, blue-eyed, blonde cheerleader that he chased for all 4 years in high school. We ended up getting together after high school graduation and were engaged 6 months later. I should have kept running from him like I did in high school. He's now an addict who is verbally and emotionally abusive. He's a compulsive liar, and he's stolen prescription medication from me to get high. He's very jealous and has accused me of having an affair with every male I've ever worked with, all without any merit whatsoever. It got so bad at one point that he told me I needed to quit my job and stay home with my son. Then he criticized me for not having a job. I teach high school English, and he is jealous of my male students because he claims he sees the way they watch me and look at me. He's made my life hell. He criticizes and ridicules me for being a diabetic, saying he never intended to marry a cripple, which is hardly the case. I'm happy to say that he'll be getting served with divorce papers very soon. God help the woman who takes my place, because he can't do anything for himself. He's never paid a bill, made his own doctor's appointments, etc. He's exhausting. He's also that guy who likes to tell our son what a stud he was in high school and how he eventually got the girl he wanted. While dating, he portrayed himself to be the man he thought I would see as husband material. However, I quickly saw it was all an act shortly after we married. If I had to do it over, I would have left the country to avoid him. The only good thing to come out of our marriage is my son. I'm sorry that my story was the nightmare in the bunch. I'm just keeping it real. I don't know the details of your relationship or anything, but I hope you're able to stay safe when you break the news to him. I have a friend who was the victim of a murder-suicide attempt. Husband died, wife survived, because she finally decided to leave him over his abuse. Wife was the prom queen, state champion athlete, and generally loved by everyone she knew. Dated her popularity equivalent and struggled through its toxicity. With the help of a bunch of champagne and a shirt with a cat on it, I swooped in. Now, every day, I get to hear about how I'm punching above my weight class or out kicking the coverage or whatever metaphor by coworkers, but she's just the absolute best person ever. Complete smoke show, inside and out. Her best friend went to the rival school and was the same type of person. 10 years later, they are still just the best humans. Kinda cool to see, as the popular kids from my grade were pretty crappy. I occasionally see the super popular dude from my high school. He was always nice, friendly with everyone, even though he still primarily hung with the cool kids. He put on some weight, but is still super nice and a great guy. We had a conversation at a party recently. We're both in our 40s now, and he put his arm around me and said, "Dude, life is good, but man, you don't know what it's like to have peaked in 8th grade." My dad was a senior when my mom was a sophomore. My dad was practically Danny freaking Zuko. My mom was a total dork. She had awesome poofy curls, Coke bottle glasses, and headgear to boot. My dad used to pay her to do his homework. My mom married a total piece of crap. She calls him her practice husband and had my brother for 2 years before becoming pregnant with me. She couldn't handle the trauma that he was putting them through and kidnapped my brother and ran away from sperm donor when she was still pregnant with me. She managed to get an apartment in the town she went to high school in. Every day was a struggle. One night, she was having a particularly difficult time with my 3-year-old brother and 8-month-old self and ordered a pizza for dinner. When the pizza guy showed up, my brother was running around and my mom threw me into a pizza guy's arms and said, "Will you hold this, please?" while she proceeded to chase her 3-year-old around the apartment. This poor man is standing there with an infant in his arms in the middle of pure chaos. I've been told he fell in love with me right then and there, and my mom about 20 minutes later. I still have the pizza jacket he was wearing. They dated for 2 years before she finally agreed to marry him. They've been happily married for 28 years. He was working at the pizza chain that later became Domino's and going to school to become a teacher. DJs Pizza was a side hustle when he was student teaching at the high school. He wanted to teach auto mechanics to help inspire troubled kids to stay in school so that they can go to college. He emancipated himself from his parents when he was 16, not because he was having trouble at home, he was, but because he was ready to start building his life. He was taking classes at the community college by 17 years old. He was paying my mom to do his high school homework because he was too busy with college, apparently. I took his shop class when I was in high school. He was a strong advocate for high school being a waste of time, LOL. After finishing high school and community college, he graduated from the University of Michigan and went back to community college to continue taking classes for many years. He has so many diplomas and degrees I can't even keep track. My mom too, thanks to his influence. He saved us. He married my mom when I was 2 years old and adopted my brother and I when I was 8. And when they had enough money, we moved out of the slums to the upper middle class suburbs of Chicago, where he taught auto at a very prestigious high school. When my brother and I were out on our own and the suburbs sucked him dry of all joy and passion for what he was doing, they moved back to Michigan. They now live in total paradise on 80 acres of land in the woods with their 3 dogs. He has his own shop in the barn behind the house, and he's teaching auto at the local community college. He and my mother are very happy living the lives that they built for themselves. Apparently, his shop teacher inspired him and somehow convinced him that he could make his life into whatever he wanted it to be, and he made it his goal to be that inspiration for kids. He is now living the life that he wanted to live and doing exactly that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and don't forget to watch our other videos.